Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Hello, welcome inside. It is the latest edition of the Bmore Baseball Podcast. I'm Jerry Coleman. He's the Orioles Hall of Famer, the 14-year MLB veteran. It's Mike Bordick, and we're producing brand new content every day, Bordy, whether it be on Instagram, on Facebook, or on that thing they call X, at the Bmore Ball Pod, at the Bmore Ball Pod, and on YouTube. Bmore Ball Pod on YouTube. When you subscribe, and I was told by executive producer Chip Franklin, that's an important word to include. Subscribe and you qualify for a Lido Pizza gift card of $50 when you show us evidence that you subscribe to our YouTube page. Again, Bmore Ball Pod. Today, episode number 20, Bordy, we're going to be joined by former Orioles coach and current Braves third base coach Fredi Gonzalez. We'll talk about what is going on with Tomoyuki Sagano's endurance. Also, do these players-only meetings work? Bordy has some experience with that, and we'll catch up with the doc, Dr. Michael Jacobs, and find out about this, crippling catcher crisis. Try saying that 3 times in a row real quickly. All right, let's bring in our featured guest. He is sponsored, as they all are, our featured guests, by Pappas Seafood. From crab cakes to seafood classics, they'll deliver straight to your door. 4 locations in the Baltimore area, plus nationwide shipping. Order it today at pappascrabcakes.com. I'm sure they can make it to Atlanta or Sacramento, where our guest Fredi Gonzalez is today. And Fredi, great to have you on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, guys, great for having me as a guest. Always love talking baseball and always looking forward to speaking with Bordy about infield play or just baseball in general.
Oh, he's got some questions for you, but I'll lead off here. It's been about a month since you settled back in with the Braves. How are things going? And, since you decided to go in a different direction, or was it the Orioles, I guess, who decided to go in a different direction last October?
That was, it wasn't decided by me. It was decided by the Orioles. And, ever since then, there was, couldn't get back in the game, try to get back in the game in October. And, for whatever reason, I don't know why I couldn't. Nobody called. Nobody called to return the phone calls. So I did a couple other different things just to stay busy. I volunteered at Division III baseball or Sinus College out here in Pennsylvania, where I live, and then I did a couple of MLB Network shows, and also I worked as a Major League Baseball observer, writing reports on the umpires. So, but before we get into the strike zone, I had nothing to do with the strike zone. So the strike zone is in the hands of the computer. But so it kept me busy, and out of nowhere, the Braves decided to make a move, a rare move, really. I mean, you've seen pitching coaches and hitting coaches getting fired in the middle of the year, but you've never seen a third base coach get get moved. And luckily with the Braves being a classy organization, they made him the infield coordinator in the minor league. So he's still with the organization, and I get an opportunity to go back in and try to help this team somehow get the offense going.
Wow. Yeah. I love that you're back in the game, and trust me, I know how hard it is to get back in, but you're fresh off the game. I got to go back in time a little bit though. How surprised were you that you were let go? And to follow up with that, how surprised were you that Brandon Hyde was let go? Because it seemed like you two were like linked together, especially through all the great times the Orioles just had.
Bordy, you can never say in this game, as you know, you're surprised. But I was as surprised as anybody, really. When I got a phone call from or a FaceTime from Mike Elias, I'm thinking, he's gonna offer me a 1-year deal, and I'm gonna ask him, can you give me a 2-year deal? And he says no, and I'm gonna go, okay, I'll sign a contract. That's how my negotiation usually goes, right? And when he said that he wasn't gonna bring me back, that he was gonna go in a different direction, push Hyde in a different direction, it really stumped me. And after that fact, I answered for about 2 weeks worth. Hey, what happened between you and Hyde? To answer your question, Bordy, I'm like, nothing. Nothing happened between Hyde and I. And I always told Hyde, I said, please do not try to save your job or save my job. I said, I've been in the game long enough. I know how this works. And if something in the future happens, and if I got to go, I got to go. But I was surprised. And then to compound the fact that in this early in the season, I hear that the Hyde got got let go, and that was surprising. You don't know what goes behind closed doors. You don't know whose decision it was, and was it Mike? Was it the ownership? But the team was the team's offensively. I thought it was always a good club, and then the pitching was, I thought in the wintertime they didn't address the pitching area like they should have. But we just finished playing a 3-game series, and I sat there at third base and watched all these young guys play that I had for 5 years, right? And you bring them up in the organization, and they're getting better and better and better, and it's a shame. And they're playing good baseball right now. I think I saw a number. There were 4 or 5 games above 500 since Hyde got let go, but they're also healthier and playing a little better.
Yeah, how much contact do you keep in touch with Brandon these days?
I check on him, Jerry. I check on him about once a week, once every 10 or 12 days, just to see how he's doing. I was there. We all been fired. We all been let go. We all been released. Bordick, I'm sure. And there's a lot of emotions that go through these times, and I just want to make sure that he's okay. I told him, I got fired almost. It wasn't almost. It was the exact same day I got fired in 2016 with the Braves that he got fired with the Orioles, and coincidence or whatever you may call it. So, I experienced all those feelings he's experiencing right now, and I told him, I said, from my, I could suggest for you is you haven't had a summer off in all your life, take the wife out to Europe or just make a trip and just unplug for a little bit and enjoy that, and not to get back in the game somehow, because if you don't get back in the game as soon as you can, this game will pass you by or forget you, really. So, but I check on him. I check on Cuz. I thought I was going to see Cuz here in Sacramento because he's not too far from here, but he's at the lake with his wife Lori. So. But yeah, I keep an eye on him. I check. I've been there. We've done that. I know all the experience and all the feelings that he's going through right now.
You've been in baseball really your whole life. So what was it like when you abruptly got done and didn't go to spring training after? My gosh, it has to be over 40 years, doesn't it?
Bordick, I signed out of high school in 1982, and this last year was the first time I didn't go to spring training. And you're talking about something that it was out of the blue and unexpected. So, I talked to some people and they gave me a great advice. They said, you got to do something that's going to fulfill you. And so I checked around in the area, some of the high school coaches and some of the college coaches. And they said, hey, I have a young coach at Ursinus College that needs your help in Division III. And boy, did he need my help. And that was fun. I think, Bordy, those kids helped me more than I helped them. I got to see probably the bare bones of college baseball. But if you want to play baseball and if you want to get an education, because it's Division III, there's a lot of good baseball schools, especially in Pennsylvania and in Maryland, because we were in the same division as Johns Hopkins. And that team, that was the last series we played, and that team could have played D1. How good those guys could. I don't know if you got a chance to see them.
They went to the World Series, right?
Yeah, they went to the World Series, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a D1 type player team, and so they swept a double hitter against us, but that's a good team. It was good baseball, and these kids, for the most part, Jerry, there's no Bobby Witt Juniors running around, right, or Tatis, but there's some good, every once in a while you see a good player, and for the most part, these guys are gonna, they're gonna go out and be lawyers and financial people, and it was fun. It was fun for me. Like I said earlier, they helped me more through that transition than I helped them.
Yeah, looking back at your Orioles tenure, it was a 5-year journey. There were a lot of lows and then some highs there at the end, but then a low, obviously not winning a playoff game 2 straight seasons. How demoralizing was that for the kids and the veterans in the clubhouse? You make it to the postseason. It'd been such a long drought for the ball club, but just couldn't break through either season. And in no way was it your fault, by the way.
No, but that's okay. I thought, the first series in the playoffs, when we got to the Ranger, I'm like, okay, we weren't ready. We had a lot of young players. We had so we were still kind of optimistic. that one didn't hurt as much as the one against Kansas City. That one, everybody after losing that series, and I think we scored 2 runs in the entire series, right? And that one hurt. Yeah, that one hurt. And people, I remember sitting and walking around the locker room after 20 minutes after 30 minutes after the game ended, and we're done. The season's over. People sitting around, the players sitting around, stunned. That this happened. And you saw it coming a little bit. You saw it coming. I remember the series against the Seattle Mariners, and then we played Oakland, and I'm like, man, I don't like the way we're swinging the bats, and some of our young analysts as well. The Seattle Mariners have a tendency to do that with their starting pitching, but we started not swinging the bat well. We started chasing out of the strike zone, and it was look at Colton. It still comes back to me that Colton Cowser's last at bat, where he swung at a pitch in the playoff game that hit him, broke his wrist. That if he would have took it just a little step forward, the ball would have hit behind him, and we would have scored a run. And so, are they better off for that experience? I hope so, because there is a talented, good group of position players that they have.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of those young, talented position players, and you already alluded to the fact that you just saw them rolling through there in Atlanta, and they're playing better baseball. But when you came up, when you managed the Marlins, you had one of the best young superstars in the game, Hanley Ramirez. And then when you went to the Braves, you had Fredi Freeman as a kid. Do you see any kind of comparison or likeness to the Orioles' young superstars? Because you saw them in their infancy as well.
Bordick, I do a lot of them. I see Gunnar Henderson all of a sudden maturing as a shortstop. I saw him make every play in this series that you go, man, this guy's been around now a little bit. I'm not talking about the backhand jump throw to first base. I'm just talking about the routine play that he's a solid major league shortstop. He made a hell of a throw on a double relay to cut Matt Olson down in a tie game, and I think it was the 6th or 7th inning. And that same play 2 years ago, Cowser might have overthrown him, and then if he'd not, Gunnar might have thrown it in the dirt or something, or made a bad throw. And so you see those little plays that you watch them grow up, and you go, okay, these guys are major leaguers. You see, and I always had in my mind, I thought this guy was going to be okay. It was Jackson Holliday. When he came up 2 years ago in 24, he got it handed to him, right? But you saw the makeup, you saw his work ethic, you saw his temperament. You go, okay, I'm going to bet on this kid. I'm going to bet that this kid is going to be okay, and he has. And I think his last game against us got 4 hits, and you see him maturing. You see the whole team mature. Colton Cowser. You see, we didn't get a chance to see Ali because he was hurt, but I spent a little time with him, and he's doing well and in a good frame of mind. Ryan O'Hearn's come in, he got a chance to play, and he makes his first All-Star game, and you see a lot of good stuff there, and and hopefully now that we don't have to play him anymore, and I hope they get going and make a run at this thing in the American League East.
No Hanley Ramirez though.
Well, you know what? That was at his time, Bordick. At his time, in that short period window of 4, 5, 6 years, when he was on the field, he was like Acuna, right? He was like the best player on the field, and for whatever reason, he wasn't able to sustain it for a long period of time. But it was a 4 or 5 year window there. There was players there. Well, I think he won a batting title with the Miami Marlins, played shortstop. Who knows? Who knows what Jackson's going to turn into? He might be that type of player here in another year or two. Same thing with Gunnar. I mean, we saw Gunnar did he hit 30 last year? Home runs, 25 home runs last year. So that's up there with Hanley Ramirez type numbers. So it was fun seeing him. It wasn't fun losing 3 games to him and those sort of things. But it was good to see them. They all came by at one point or the other and said hi. And I think my wife spent more time in the Orioles wife section than she did with the Braves because she was there every game with the Baltimore, and some of her girls are probably our daughter's age, if not younger. So she got to be like the mom of all the Orioles wives. So she got to spend some time over there in the Orioles wives section.
Nice.
More of the Bmore Baseball podcast coming right up. At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com. Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop.
Hello, my name is Reese Friedman, and I'm the daughter of Stephen L. Friedman and Rachel Friedman, and the granddaughter of Michael A. Friedman. Now, the law office of Michael Friedman's firm has been going on for over 35 years. If you or a loved one have been injured or in a serious accident, please call the number right here or email us. Also, we don't want you to hesitate. We're just one phone call away.
Jerry Coleman here. I've been a client of the law offices of Michael A. Friedman for well over 25 years now. From motor vehicle accidents to other tort-related issues, 410-363-6848, or find them on their website at maflaw.com.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you, too. If you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery, you could win instantly, or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every Grand Slam. Sounds like a ball, if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
You know, Fredi, this time of year, there's that conundrum of whether to be a buyer or a seller. You know, the Orioles, as we speak, they're in last place. They aren't far off from a wild card spot, but do you mortgage the future to try and make the wild card and get into the postseason? That's the conundrum.
That is the conundrum. And, you know, I'm sure our general manager, Alex, is probably doing the same thing. And there's, you know, I bet you there's 10 or, 8 to 10 teams right now thinking about that, you know. I don't know. I want, if I'm managing a team, I want to just keep getting better, you know, and I'm not talking about mortgaging the future, but I just want to keep getting better. I was with the Braves in 2016 when they had this, the reset or retool or whatever. We got rid of a lot of players and, got, and they're better off for it now, right? After 2 years of, they made the playoffs and the World Series and all those sort of things. But I sure don't want to be a general manager right now with like the Orioles, like the Braves, like a couple other teams, and go, let's sell. And next thing you know, you're just like, man, we could have won this thing, or we could have gone in, right? The thing is getting into playoffs. Or, but if it was up to me, I'm always thinking about, you're not that far away to get in, and like you get in, you never know what's happened. But that's not my decision to make.
It is going to be challenging. I mean, a lot of teams bulked up in the middle right there. The wild card race, I think, is going to be as intriguing as it's ever been. Staying on this, now you've done just about everything in the game. And do you want to get back into managing? And how much did your ears perk up when you heard what happened just down the street in Nationals Park when the GM and the manager got let go?
I was in the flight when that came up, and we were talking, and I'm like, is this true? Because they just came out of nowhere. And you answer, go, yeah, it's true. It didn't perk up because I have interest. It just perked up because I thought it was like, was weird that the timing of it, right? You got you have the draft coming, and all that kind of stuff. It was just a weird timing. You know what, Bordy, I want to stay in this game. I'm not ready. I'm 61 years old. I'm not ready to get completely. I can't play golf every day, even though I love to play golf, but I can't play golf every day. I want to be able to do something. And I've talked to a couple of people about this, and, now this is going public, but it's like, you know what? I've seen it, what it's done to me, 10 years of managing in the major leagues. And I've seen it, what it had done with Donnie Mattingly and it's a grind. And Snicker and you know, and Hyder, and it's a grind. And I don't know if I'm ready to jump back in that seat. And I know I'm 6 years. What is it? Almost 10 years removed from managing, and the managing position has changed so much in 10 years. And so, you know, I love being the bench coach because you're managing, you're prepared as a manager. You do, you know, you're right there shoulder to shoulder with the manager and with Hyder, and you're making decisions and you're giving them advice. And at the end of the day, I close my notebook, I go have a glass of wine with my wife, and nobody calls, you know, whereas a manager, he's got to stay there and make decisions. You know, one of the hardest thing is you win a ball game and then you got to bring somebody in your office and set them down. You know, you demoting him, or, you know, you get a phone call from 8 o'clock in the morning from the GM. Hey, you know, what, you know, we're going to make a trade, or, you know, what do you got on this lineup? So it's hard. It's changed. If somebody could promise me that they could win 145, 150 games a year, I may jump back in it. But other than that, Bordy, I want to stay in this game in some capacity and help, whether it's a young manager, being a coaching staff and mentoring coaches, or just being with the young players and helping them grow up. I would have first day of the series, I would make these guys, we watch tapes on pickoffs and rundowns and cutoffs and relays and be in the right spot at the right time. And I was the guy, right? Because, you know, there's always got to be somebody to be the dictator on those sort of things, instead of just, and you watch them do all these things and you go, you know what, they're doing it against the Orioles, against the Braves, but you know, I'm proud that they're doing it. They're in the right place every time, and that made me happy.
Well, they hadn't been. You obviously didn't see him play the first 2 months of the season. It was terrible, man. Where's Fredi, man? Why isn't Fredi getting these guys lined up? I'm telling you, they were throwing the ball all over the place. They weren't running the bases well. It was pretty crazy. Fredi, I obviously the game needs you as a part of it. I think you're a great part of Major League Baseball, really all baseball, and I think you showed your real colors, man. How passionate you are about the game, going back and helping at D3. But my question is, now, are you still throwing batting practice? Because you got some pretty darn good BP, man, and they need that arm. I know that.
You know what? They have a pretty good group of BP pitchers here. So I just been here a month. I've only thrown 2 or 3 times, and I don't want to overstep, you know, but, you know, I told the hitting coaches, hey, you need me to throw a group or whatever, you know, I'll jump in there. So I haven't been every single day, but I'm working my way in. I just don't want to overstep my bounds here so quickly.
You're going to hoist the trophy, man, as best BP thrower at the end of it. I know that for sure. Hey, I got one more quick question here for you. Coming up as a catcher in the Yankees organization, the Orioles have recently been devastated by injuries. And, of course, your guy, Adley Rutschman, I would think you helped so much behind the plate, went down with an oblique. Sanchez just went down again, and about 3 other guys have gone down. First of all, your thoughts on that and the importance of a really good Major League backstop.
Oh my goodness, it's they call it the backbone, right? It's the catching position, and the Orioles fans were so spoiled when Rush came up, and he was catching every day, and if he wasn't catching, he was DHing. Some of the injuries, you know, like the Sanchez play, I get thrown, Olsen thrown out at the plate. And all of a sudden, Olsen comes off because he banged his knee on the ground on the head first slide. And next thing you know, Sanchez is being replaced by Stallings. And I'm going, what? You know, I think Westy was playing first. I go, Westy, what happened? He goes, he got jammed up on his knee or something. And I guess it was even worse than that. I don't know exactly what what actually happened, but it was like, so he got just in a bad position and it just jammed up his knee. Some of the stuff it's just circumstances. I mean, it's a hard position. I think you see in their freak accidents. I think Maverick got a concussion on just like a normal play of the plate. It wasn't even it wasn't hard, but it's just circumstance. For me, the ones I hate to see are the ones that are the backswing concussions, right? The backswing injuries, because they're trying to get so close to the plate. They get the catcher's interference or up. And those are the ones those are the ones you could prevent, but they're trying to steal pitches, and you get the backstoring. I think, was it Contreras got a backswing and broke his arm, and he was gone for a couple of months. Those are preventables, but the ones that I saw, with Adley was probably a batting practice issue. The one Sanchez was just kind of, I guess he got himself in a position and jammed up his knee. But those are just freak accidents. But most teams, right? Most teams they'll carry the two catchers in the big leagues and no other catchers in the roster, right? And I think Alex and Snit were talking that the year they won the World Series, they went through 7 catchers in their roster through 1 year.
Wow.
And they still won the World Series. So it's a position those guys still, those guys still hang around. I was looking at the game or the reports for the athletic series, and our friend Austin Wins is here. He's here catching with the Athletics. So Absolutely. He just keeps turning around. You can catch and throw, man. You can play for a long time. You can play.
This might be his third team since leaving the Orioles too.
Yeah. And I was looking up, and he's almost got 7 or 8 years in the big leagues.
Right.
And you also have to be a pretty good, handler of a pitching staff and a good guy in the clubhouse, right? And you look up and he may have 10 years before his career is over.
Fredi, last question to have for you. The Orioles have long wanted to duplicate what's going on with the Battery down in Atlanta, different location in Georgia as opposed to Baltimore. Do you foresee that them trying to make Oriole Park at Camden Yards what the Battery is down there with the Braves?
Well, you know what? The thing about because I was there with the Braves, they had a clean canvas. There was nothing there but just fields, right? And so they could do whatever you want. I don't know if you could duplicate that because there's nowhere to go, right? In Baltimore, you got the Pickles and you got the Harbor, and then you got you got homes on one side, and you got the football stadium. So I don't know if they could create something like that, but the Cubs did a little bit in Wrigleyville, right? If you've been there, there's a little bit of that same atmosphere, not as in a grander scale as Atlanta. And that's fun. I got to an apartment like 100 yards from the ballpark, and that is fun. You just walk down, it's almost Bordick used to give you a heads up from my apartment to the clubhouse. It's like from the players' parking lot in Baltimore to the clubhouse. That's how far I am.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
So it's and then at the end of the night they always got something going. They got the restaurants going, they got a theater, they got and it's fun. And you just walk to the apartment and you don't even have to get in your car for the whole homestand if you don't want to.
That's awesome. Well, Fredi, we appreciate the time. And the one thing I'll say in closing is I love the fact that you're still on AOL like me. Don't let these boomers try to beat you down and get you on another email service.
Oh, my kids they give me so much grief for that. And I'm like, listen, they don't even know that when I first got it, you had to pay for it. Right. And you had to put that little band and walk, whatever sound. And if somebody called to disconnect you, right? Those are the good times.
God bless AOL, and best of luck to you the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us.
Fredi. Thanks so much.
Time, guys.
All right, there he goes, the great Fredi Gonzalez. Boy, is he missed here in Baltimore, Bordy.
More of the Bmore Baseball Podcast coming right up. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer. Or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone. Exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955. Proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for grassroots cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
Absolutely. All right, let's get on to For the Birds, of course, sponsored by the Maryland Lottery. And playing the Maryland Lottery responsibly means knowing what's true and what's not about your favorite games. Learn the facts and the myths at mdlottery.com. And as always, please play responsibly. So, Bordy, what's your level of concern with Tomoyuki Sagano potentially running out of gas? I ask because this guy has not escaped the fifth inning in 4 of his last 5 outings. Obviously, these stress pitches, as they refer to them in Major League Baseball, probably are a lot higher than they are in Japan.
Yeah, high leverage every pitch at the major league level for sure, and it's wearing on them, I think. Listen, this is a different beast over here than playing in Japan, and I know we've seen some great superstars come out of that Japanese league, but it takes them a little bit to get used to it, right? They pitch on every 6th day; it's every 5th day here. I think the heat can be a little overwhelming too. I don't know that Sagano ever has pitched in the likes of Tampa outdoors in the summertime, or Atlanta in the summertime, or Baltimore in the summertime. The humidity is relentless, that's for sure. So he could be wearing down. He's a middle-aged pitcher, right? Maybe back end, 34, 35 years old. But it's his command that's wearing down. His first 60 innings, he had 10 walks. His last 30 innings or less, he's had 9 walks. So the command isn't there, and that's where you're seeing the results, man. He's leaving a lot of pitches up and out over. This guy depends on his pinpoint command, and it's just not right there. It's not there right now. I like the idea. I think they should just give him a break, man. They give guys resets all the time. They move Charlie Morton to the pen, and he's their best pitcher. Move him to the pen. Give him a month off and let him rebound. I don't know if they're trying to think that he can be a trade chip or what, but the Orioles, if they're going to make any kind of run, they need more consistency out of the rotation, and he's going to be a big piece.
And certainly the All-Star break will be a good respite for him. And speaking of the All-Star break, this is our last podcast before the said break, and the Orioles are sending Ryan O'Hearn to the All-Star game. Jackson Holliday was not chosen initially, could still be an injury replacement. But I put it out there, typically a last-place team only sends one representative to the All-Star game.
Yeah. And I kind of think that's true, man. If you're a good team, you will be well represented in the All-Star game. And even if there are players that aren't quite as good as Jackson Holliday, if you're on a winning team, that guy, they deserve to be on there and represent a little bit more. Do I think Jackson Holliday could be an all-star and should be? Yeah, absolutely, man. This young guy is kind of captivating MLB. Certainly, Oriole fans love him. He's doing some really special things for such a young player, just 21 years old. His batting average, he's showing more consistency. They've thrust him right into the leadoff spot at Major League Baseball, and Mazzolito, the interim manager, has already proclaimed for the next 5 years, this is the Orioles leadoff hitter. Might be too much for that. His on-base percentage is just up over 300, but he's shown incredible improvements. His bat plays. There is no doubt about that. Defensively is where I was a little hung up early, but man, oh man, is he on it right now. His sense of urgency with the glove is spot on. He knows when to be a little quicker. He knows when to slow it down on a double play. I just love watching this kid play, man. He's fun, and he will be a perennial all-star. I promise you that.
Oh, no doubt about that. And the fans are going to love it when they do see him at the Midsummer Classic, whether it be this year or for many years to come. All right, let's travel beyond Baltimore. It's brought to you by Relief Shop, which is Baltimore's best adult use for medical cannabis. The dispensary right there in the heart of Baltimore with 700 plus unique menu items and home delivery available for medical patients only via Relief Shop. Now, these players-only meetings that go on around professional sports Usually it's in baseball. I mean, the Mets just had one recently. And my question to you is, have you been through these? Do you tune them in? Do you tune them out? And why are they necessary? Because to me, you as a Major League Baseball player, you spend so much time around these teammates, traveling, eating, carousing around at night, that do you really need this private meeting without the manager and coaches to solve problems?
Sounds like a true non-athlete. And now I know you play tennis. Come on, yeah. It pulls the team together. Absolutely. Come on now, listen here. A major league team, yeah, you travel together, you're on the same plane, but you still have your cliques, man. You got your 2 or 3 buddies you hang out with that you go to dinner with. During team stretch, you talk to 1 or 2 guys in your group or whatever. So the team very rarely comes together. So I think, just a player team meeting, depending on where it's held, it can't just be in the locker room. It's got to be out at a really nice restaurant or a gentleman's club or a bar or something like that maybe everybody can bond and unite and have a good time. And it isn't for one of the team leaders to stand up and give a rah-rah speech. It's just to be together as a unit to help kind of build that camaraderie and hopefully get the boat headed in the right direction. I think that's what the Mets want to do, and I think that's what most teams want to do. Sometimes they just don't have enough team leadership to pull everybody together for that meeting. Players sometimes roll their eyes, but it seems like the Mets, they're really trying to get it going in the right direction because they've shown they could be a really good team, but they can be a very bad team at times too.
Well, as a former ball player, it sounds like you've been a part of a few of these. Again, have they worked, though? That's the non-athlete question I'm asking.
Well, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they work in the sense that the next day you might smile at somebody you don't even talk to, a relief pitcher. Bump into them and say, hey, man, that was great last night. Those type of little things that might help get an extra high five or somebody really pay more attention to your teammate out on the field and just know that you got each other's back.
All right, time to bring in the doc. It's our What's Up Doc segment. What's Up Doc is sponsored by Baltimore's top attorneys, the law offices of Michael A. Friedman, my personal attorneys for over 25 years now. There's always a live person available when you call the law offices of Michael A. Friedman at 410-363-6848. That's 410-363-6848. Dr. Michael Jacobs was an Orioles team doctor for over 3 decades. Probably never part of a players-only meeting, Doc. I'm just going to presume that. But I'm sure they filled you in on all the details afterwards. But I want to get to catcher, perhaps the most important position on the field. And the Orioles are going through them, frankly, like toilet paper, but good toilet paper, Doc. Rushman, Sanchez, everyone in between. You ever seen a position like this outside of pitcher, Doc, decimated?
I've never seen it happen to our club, but as Fredi said, the Braves went through 7 catchers in 1 year. And one thing you have to remember is that you're filling in with backup catchers, and most of these guys don't play regularly. I looked up Mr. Stomp's numbers, and he never played in more than 50 games in a year. And I think he played in 30 last year. So if he has a chronic back issue, starting to play every day might aggravate it. If you look at the video on Sanchez's play, there's nothing in that to even remotely suggest he hurt his knee. So I'm not getting, what's going on there either. That may have been something else that happened and got aggravated. I do remember one unnamed player we had blew himself up on one of those unicycle things on the road and didn't tell everybody. And then he kind of blamed it on a game-going issue. Mike's probably been through some of those, but what do you call those?
Has the statute of limitations run out on that player's name?
I cannot give you that name, but he blew it up on a Segway and tried to blame it on something else. But, of course, Adley's was swinging the bat, and as I've said before, he has a super violent swing, and his core muscles are at risk. He doesn't have those quick hands and quick bat speed like Cowser, for example, has, who doesn't look like he's swinging at all when the bat takes off. In the case of the collision, despite everything we do, you got to give the Yankees credit, even though when Handley got concussed, the runner did try to avoid him, but unfortunately the throw took the catcher right into the player. There's nothing you can do about that. So the other problem is, like I say, when we had McCann, even though he was a backup, he had been a full-time player, and he was used to playing a lot of games. Right now we're going through a lot of catchers who are career backups who really have not played that much. So I do think that's the risk when you take that route. And the other risk, of course, is, as you saw the other day when the pitcher had a bat, if you don't have a third emergency catcher and you make your catcher a DH, you run out of hitters. I do remember we asked one of our players if he'd be an emergency catcher, and he said absolutely not. He was pretty opinionated about that. But catching is the only position where a player is involved in every play and every pitch. Pitchers may change, but he's there for every pitch. So it's not surprising they wear down after the All-Star break, as Adley did last year. And it's not surprising that the pounding they take hurts them. I'm surprised that Adley and other catchers don't do the Johnny Bench trick of putting their throwing hand behind their back so that doesn't get nicked up on the balls that bounce or the foul tips. I see less and less of that going on as catchers are kneeling on one knee. I guess that may be part of that process.
All right, Dr. Michael Jacobs, as always, brought to us by the law offices of Michael A. Friedman. Check more out with the doc on Overtime. And we want to thank all our sponsors for getting behind this latest episode. We appreciate their patronage. We appreciate you watching and listening as well.
They say it all comes back to your roots, right? At Grassroots, high-quality cannabis is in their nature. From soil to soul, their passion for cannabis and community inspires everything they do. Try your favorite strains from their cultivar library of top-shelf flower, pre-rolls, and concentrates. Whether you're cheering from the stands or chanting for the O's at home, their crafted flower helps you curate the perfect game day. Ask for Grassroots Cannabis at your favorite dispensary in Maryland.
Hello, my name is Reese Friedman, and I'm the daughter of Stephen L. Friedman and Rachel Friedman, and the granddaughter of Michael A. Friedman. Now, the loss of Michael Friedman's firm has been going on for over 35 years. If you or a loved one have been injured or in a serious accident, please call the number right here or email us. Also, we don't want you to hesitate. We're just one phone call away.
Jerry Coleman here. I've been a client of the law offices of Michael A. Friedman for well over 25 years now. From motor vehicle accidents to other tort-related issues, 410-363-6848, or find them on their website at maflaw.com.
I'm retired now, but I was an Orioles home run. Grand slam, actually. Took a sweet ride right into the flag court, and it was awesome. Could be awesome for you, too. If you play Home Run Riches from the Maryland Lottery, you could win instantly or be a contestant of the game and win $500 for being selected, $500 for every Orioles home run, and $5,000 for every Grand Slam. Sounds like a ball, if you ask me. Enter all season at mdlottery.com.
At Pappas Restaurants, we've been serving up Maryland's best crab cakes for over 5 decades, and now we make it easier than ever to get your favorites. With 4 restaurants and sports bar locations across Harford County, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County, you can stop in for fresh seafood, ice-cold drinks, and wall-to-wall TVs. But if you can't make it in, don't worry. We'll bring Pappas to you. Our new state-of-the-art shipping and commissary location on Bel Air Road in Nottingham means you can pick up fresh-made meals or have our famous crab cakes and seafood shipped anywhere in the country. Dine in, pick up, or ship nationwide. However you Pappas, we've got you covered. Order now at pappascrabcakes.com. It's saving season at Lido Pizza. 99-cent refreshing iced teas for spring and summer, or $6 calzones every Tuesday. There are tons of new deals and rewards for everyone, exclusively at LidoPizza.com or on the Lido Pizza app. Lido Pizza, a local legend since 1955, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for Bet Parks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
We also appreciate senior producer Chip Franklin, executive producer, for putting this latest episode together. Chip loves the summer. It's time for him to swim with the Sharks. He loves doing that out there in San Diego. The only problem is, Bordy, he keeps coming back every week for another podcast. Until next week, be kind, as always, be real, and make sure to be back next week for the latest edition of the Bmore Baseball Podcast. See ya.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.